Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Speaker and Author Success Series presented by thecommunicationleader.com. And we are the co-founders, Lawrence and Kristen Clark. I'd like to just show you a little picture here of my lovely wife, Kristen. She has 25 years worth of sales and marketing, business planning and strategy experience. She is an author, speaker, and she is also a confidence and business coach. And I'm really proud of her, not just because she's beautiful and smart, but just because she's a lovely individual. And if you ever get a chance to meet her, you will definitely agree with me. And then as for myself, well, of course, I'm an author and a speaker. That's why I'm doing this series for authors and speakers. And I'm also a platinum certified sales trainer. I have all kinds of degrees in English and rhetoric and communications and blah, blah, blah. You don't want to hear about that. You want to learn about what you're going to learn about tonight, which is something really cool and interesting, trust me. So today's topic is how to set and achieve goals that match your inborn strengths and personality type. Now, this is hugely, hugely important because you can set goals all day long. You can manage your time all day long. But if you're not setting the right kind of goals that are for you, not for other people, if you're not managing your time in order to set goals that are going to help you specifically as a unique human being that is created by God to live in a certain way, to have certain talents, to have certain inborn strengths and, well, weaknesses too, right? But if you're not setting the right kind of goals, it doesn't matter how much you manage your time and what you do to get there. You're probably not going to be very happy and thrilled about that. And I've learned about this many, many years dealing with business clients, dealing with college students, dealing with my own children, etc., and seeing people setting goals that they think are important, and maybe they are for other people, but they're not necessarily good for themselves. So I'm going to try to help you with that today. And our promise to you, as always, is to give you information about the latest tools and strategies that we have. We do a lot of reading and research, and we try to deliver information based on that research. And then a lot of times we try to give you ethical and inexpensive ways to attract visitors to your page, meaning your website, and turn them into stark raving fans. But this particular episode is not about marketing. It's not about attracting visitors. It's about making you into the kind of person that you want to be, that you should be, that you were made to be. And if you are that kind of person, then yes, you are going to start attracting visitors to your website, come to your seminars, read your books, come to your speaking events, and then they will become stark raving fans. So if you are ready to get started, I'm ready to get started. So let's just go ahead and do it. Okay. So as I mentioned, our topic today is how to set and achieve goals that match your inborn strengths and personality type. And just to give you a little bit of background about my personality and what fits me, here's a few pictures of a beautiful, beautiful place that I love, love, love. And this is our cabin up in the mountains in New Mexico. And you can see this is the view off of the front deck, and a couple of pictures around the property. We have a few acres up there, and we just love to be up there and enjoy that kind of relaxed lifestyle. Now, you might be hearing me right now and think, are you kidding me? This guy's relaxed? Well, because I'm talking really fast, right? But yes, I am relaxed, and this is the place where I go to relax, and I go there to rejuvenate and to help myself to enjoy life, right? And then I can come literally back down from the mountain and share my insights with folks like you that are interested in hearing about it. Okay, now a couple of disclaimers. I am not a psychologist. I am not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. And I am not Dr. Phil. Although I wouldn't mind having his bank account, but that's okay. Because what I am is I am a writer, I am a poet and a public speaker, a screenwriter, actor, educator, and a performing songwriter. And these are all things that fit my particular personality type and help me to do the things in life that I love to do. And that's why I just love my life. I literally love my life, and I want you to love your life too. And so that's why I'm so glad that you're here with me. Now, why am I teaching this kind of stuff? All right. Besides the fact that I want you to love your life and enjoy what you're doing, I have had a lifelong interest in self-improvement and in human behavior. I've listened to almost every recorded tape set. Okay, I'm dating myself, tape set, right? DVD set, etc., CDs, tapes, cassette tapes, all that stuff. Read a bunch of books on motivation and human behavior, how to enhance your performance as a human being. I am just what is called a human knowledge junkie. All right, I've gotten all kinds of college degrees and certifications, and I didn't even have room on this slide to list them all, but don't worry, trust me. I've spent my entire life learning stuff. Now, that's good though, and you're going to see why that is good for my particular personality type. Now, this may not be great for you. You might not want to spend your life pursuing college degrees and getting certifications and learning all kinds of different things. That's okay, because you are special. You are different. And everybody has their own thing in life. And again, God gave you your own unique personality type, your own strengths and weaknesses, and you're going to learn about that kind of stuff today. All right. Now, today's topic, we're going to be talking about goal setting, but again, goal setting that matches your personality type, strengths and weaknesses, etc. Now, of course, goal setting is as easy as they say in southern Mississippi, where I got my college degree, they say it's easy as pie, P-I-E, if you don't know how to spell that. All right. Well, not really. Okay. Goal setting is not quite as easy as pie, because if it were, then everybody would be able to do it and be successful, right? Now, what is the problem here that we address? How come everybody doesn't write down their goals and then meet them immediately or eventually? How come some people go through life and they never get there, or they spend their lives striving to try to get there but don't quite get there? Well, the problem here is time. Right? We all have the same amount of time every day. There's 24 hours in a day. There's 7 days in a week. There's 30 or 31, or once in a while 28 or 29 days in a month, right? 365 days in a year. We all have that same amount of time in order to accomplish what we want to do. And during that time, we have different things we want to accomplish. Now, there's many, many people here attending this webinar today, and some of you have different kinds of goals that you want to set. Some of you have financial goals that you want to reach a certain level. Some of you want to have just spiritual goals, that you want to reach a certain spiritual attainment or enlightenment or sense of contentment. Some of you have goals, you just want to graduate from college, okay? You might be a college student listening to this and you haven't even gotten started really reaching your career goals yet, right? Some of you might have goals, and I would put myself in this category. I'm 53 years old, or 53 years young, however you want to look at it, and I'm starting to think about, retiring eventually. In the next 10, 15 years or so, I'll be slowing down, and not necessarily slowing down, but doing things that I'd rather do rather than I need to do for money, right? So we all have different kinds of goals. But again, we have this problem. We have the problem of time. And I love this painting by Salvador Dali. I remember this, I first saw it when I was in elementary school. I had a wonderful, wonderful art teacher when I was in elementary school, and he introduced us to a lot of the classic paintings and sculptures and everything. And this particular painting always stuck in my mind. And it just reminds me that time just kind of melts away. It slips away from us, and before we know it, we haven't gotten done the things that we wanted to do. And then sometimes we set goals that just, they're so far away. It's like, oh, one day, someday I'm going to retire, or someday I'm going to start that business that I always wanted to start, or someday I'm going to move to that location where I've always wanted to live. And these dreams just seem just so far away. They might as well be on the moon, right? Now, thankfully, humankind, through NASA, has figured out a way to get to the moon. But very, very few of us have actually been able to do that, right? So those goals seem so far away. So what I'm going to try to do today is show you that goals really, if you get all the pieces right, then it's almost like putting together pieces of a puzzle. And if you figure out what your place is in this world, where you fit, what your strengths and weaknesses are as your personality type and your inborn talents and skills, then if you put all those pieces together, then you can build a walkway and you can actually get to your goals. Another way to think about it might be to moving up a ladder, for example. And every step you take up that ladder is going to help you reach closer to that goal. So we're not here with a bunch of fluff. I'm not going to give you just a bunch of platitudes and just fluffy statements that are, oh, reach your goals, think positive, right? Of course, it's great to think positive. I want you to think positive. I want you to have a good outlook on life. But on the other hand, I want to give you some tools to help you to understand what we're doing. So first of all, we're going to learn how to understand who you are, what your natural gifts and talents are, what your strengths and what your weaknesses are. Then I'm going to let you know a free tool, actually, to help develop a personal mission statement. And then that will help you, the combination of those is going to help you to determine what your priorities should be, and then to help you create a step-by-step plan in order to reach those goals. So does that sound cool? All right, I hope so. All right, now, first of all, I want to ask you to think. What did you like to do when you were a little bitty kid? Or as I say in one of my songs that I wrote for kids, a itty bitty kid. I know that's incorrect grammar, but it's a itty bitty kid song for itty bitty kids, and they don't care about correct grammar, right? But what did you like to do when you were a itty bitty kid, right? When you were 4 or 5 years old? What did you do? Who did you hang out with? What did you do for fun? Did you spend all your time alone, arranging things perfectly in your room and lining up your toys, right? Or were you out in the mud just playing with other kids and just getting dirty, okay? Or were you getting dirty by yourself and you didn't care? Were you out riding your tricycle and chasing bugs and chasing the dog around, carrying the dog around by the tail, right? Were you doing stuff, playing sports? Or were you out there being with a bunch of other kids, and it was so important with you to just be with other kids and to hang out with them? And if you weren't part of the group, was that a problem? You needed to be around other people and around your brothers and sisters or your cousins or your friends, right? Or did you not really care what you were doing? Was it just anything okay, right? Now, what you didn't realize, or maybe you did, when I just asked you those 4 questions, was that each one of those questions, the answer to the question would tell you a little bit about what your inborn personality type is. Now, I would call it your God-given personality. If you don't believe in God, well, fine. Think about it. It's your DNA or whatever it is. Okay, I'm not here. This is not a religious message necessarily. But the idea here is that you were born with a special personality that had certain strengths and weaknesses. And if you write down this exercise, we're not going to take the time to stop and actually do this exercise right now. I want you to do this later on. And if you want to send me an email with your answers, I'd love to see it. And I'd love to see and hear what you've learned from this. And I'll give you my email address later on in this webinar so that you can do that. But if you do this exercise and think about what did you love to do? What did you spend your time doing when you were 4 or 5 years old? And then also when you were, say, around 10, 11, 12, and then later in your teen years, 15, 16, 17, and then later when you were, say, in your 20s, and then if you're older than that now, which many of us are, okay, then what do you like to do now, right? And just make a list of a few things, and then look for common elements in there. And that will tell you some of the things that you are probably most gifted in. Because if you like to do those things, you're probably good at them as well, right? So do any of those items overlap? And are you still doing some of those things today? So, for example, you might not be out playing tag, you might be in your 40s or 50s or 60s, and you might not be out playing tag football with your friends in the mud, right? But do you still love to be around people, right? Do you love to be the center of attention? Do you love to tell stories and to feed off of other people? Or do you prefer being by yourself, doing activities such as working on, computer programming or accounting or something that you can just do by yourself? Or are you the kind of person that doesn't really matter? You're kind of content no matter what, or are you the kind of person who must do everything perfectly? Right? So these are just some questions that I ask. It's not real important right now, this very second, to answer those. I just want you to get yourself thinking. Now, another thing to think about is the things that you love to do. If you love to do them at certain points in your life, if you're doing them still, well, why? Okay? And if you're not doing them, why aren't you doing them? Okay. Now, this is another thing to think about. We're getting a little deeper here. And again, I'm not a psychologist. I told you that in the beginning. But some of the things we're going to be talking about today have some roots in psychology and will make you start thinking about certain things. Okay. Now, another thing you want to think about, and I deal with this all the time with college students, with business people that I'm coaching, with life coaching that I do, and I help people to kind of get through this part of it. Because a lot of times people want to be doing something, and they have this dream of wanting to do it, but they do something else to make money. Well, what if you could get paid for doing the things that you love and the things that you are best at, right? Wouldn't that be really cool? Well, guess what? I get to do that. I get paid for doing the things that I love, and that helps me to love my life, right? And if I can do it, and I'm just a normal guy from a small town in small factory town in New England, and a lot of people there spend their whole lives working years and years, 30, 40 years, working in a factory, working on a fishing boat, working at jobs where, yeah, they get paid for doing something, but it's not the things that they love. It's not the things that they were born for. And they spend their whole entire lives dreaming about maybe someday doing what they really love or what they want to do, but they never get to do that, or they never allow themselves to do that. So the reason why I'm here sharing this with you is because I don't want you to be stuck in that. I want you to be able and give yourself permission to do the things that you love, to do the things that you were born to do. So we're going to get on with that in a few minutes and find out what those are. But the problem is people fall into what I call the excuse trap, right? And they think, oh, I'm not really good enough to do that. Or, well, it wouldn't really pay enough money to pay the bills. Or, oh, it'd take too much time to learn how to do it. Or, oh, it would cost too much money to go back to school or to take some courses at night or to buy all the books and everything that I need to do. Or the one that I hear a lot is, well, my life is okay, whatever. Why do I need to change? Well, crapola. That's what I say. Crapola. Are you kidding me? Okay, I'll bet you never heard anybody say crapola on a webinar before, right? But here I am saying it, okay? Are you kidding me? Your life is not okay. And if your life was okay, you wouldn't be watching this webinar right now trying to figure out what you could do to make it better, right? Okay, now I'm not yelling at you. I'm just raising my voice just a little bit just to make a point. And this is what people do when they speak, okay? Now, what I want to tell you is that okay is not enough, because you deserve much more than just okay. You are a special human being created by God to do amazing things on this planet. And if the word God bothers you, well, just leave that out and say created by the DNA or whatever you want to call it. But you were created to do amazing things on this planet, okay? And that is not okay. Okay, just being okay is not okay for somebody as wonderful and as amazing as you. And I see the names of the people who are on my webinars. And some of you I know, some of you I know personally. Some of you I have not met, but you've been on my previous webinars. Some of you I don't know, I have not met, but I can tell you that every single one of you is an amazing human being. You are special, and you were made to do special things on this planet. So if anybody has ever told you otherwise, you just get that voice out of your head right now, and you replace it with my voice telling you that you are a special human being and you are here to do amazing things. Don't let anybody ever tell you differently. Okay. All right. Now I'm done with my rant. I'm going to take a breath here. I'm going to take a sip of water. Now, what are you going to do now? Now that you hopefully have understood what I've said. Well, now you're going to find out what you love to do. And I'm going to say enough with the wimpy excuses, all right? Because if you have an excuse that says, I'm not good enough, well, get better at whatever it is that you think you're not good enough at, right? If you have an excuse that says, oh, it doesn't pay enough, well, stop wasting your money on frivolous crap, okay? I guess that's my word of the night here. I said crapola earlier, and crap is short for crapola, okay? So stop wasting your money on stuff you don't really need, okay? Or do something else to make money while you're getting better at doing the thing you really love to do, all right? So enough of those excuses. If you have the other excuse of, well, it would take too much time to learn, well, how much time would it take you? And think about it. Where will you be if you do not learn it? Where will you be a year from now? Where will you be 3 years from now? Where will you be 10 or 20 years from now? I remember I was a high school dropout working in a shoe factory in Maine. Okay, back when we still manufactured shoes in this country because it was cheap enough to hire labor for us to do it, right? Now all the shoes, my shoe factory got closed down and they shipped the factory over to Taiwan at the time. I don't know, they probably shipped it to some other country now that's even cheaper than Taiwan. I have no idea. But I remember sitting there looking at the other people that were working in that shoe factory. And I looked and saw people that had been working there for 15, 20, 25, 30 years. And I said, you know what? If I don't figure out how to do something else in life besides operate this little machine that, well, it wasn't a little machine, it was a big machine, but the machine that makes the toes round on shoe leather so that they can make them into shoes, okay, or makes the heels rounded. I worked on 2 different machines. One made the toes round, one made the heels round. And I said, well, I don't care, but I don't want to be around here for the next 30 years because I saw those people who were there for that long, and they were either ridiculous alcoholics who just hated their lives, or they were just wasting their time away, or they were really negative people. And they sat around whining because they wanted a 20-cent an hour raise. I'm not kidding you. 20 cents an hour was the raise that they were offering, but only certain people in the place got it. And the other people were griping because they didn't get the 20-cent an hour raise. And I sat there and said to myself, I am not going to sit around here for the rest of my life worrying about if I'm going to make 20 cents an hour more. Okay? So I knew that it was time for me to get out of there and learn how to do something else, right? Now here's the other excuse. Would it cost too much to learn, right? Well, how much is too much? Okay, and what is your life worth? Okay, here's what I did. I worked extra jobs. I went back to school. I got my high school diploma. I worked at 11 at night till 7 in the morning working in that shoe factory, and then I would go to school during the day. I got that high school diploma, and then I went to college. Now, it took me a couple more years to get there because I had to save up some money to get to college. But then I finally got to college, and I worked 2 or 3 jobs, whatever, and you may not have to do that. Okay, you may not be in the same situation I was in, but that's what I did. And I got some grants and I got some scholarships. I took out some student loans, but I knew that my life was worth much more than sitting there making toes and heels round on shoe leather so people could wear shoes. I mean, people have to wear shoes, you know, and God bless the people who work in those jobs and do it, but that wasn't for me. Okay, I knew that there was something else more for me to do in this world. So if you have to work an extra job like I did, borrow some money like I did. If you have a rich uncle, you know, borrow some money from your rich uncle, right? Do whatever it takes, right? Work an extra job, whatever you have to do, okay? So now remember this other excuse that I mentioned. My life is okay right now. Well, no, you're still not thinking that, right? You didn't just say that to yourself, right? You did not really just say that. Oh, my life is okay right now. Well, I'm going to tell you again, crap. Ola, are you kidding me? No, your life is not okay. So hopefully you get the point. And the idea here is to find out what you love to do and then find out who you are. Find out what your strengths and weaknesses are. And then if you can do that, you will be well on your way to setting those goals, the right goals that match your strengths and your personality. Okay, now there's a couple of different books I'd like to recommend, and I'm not selling books here. You can find these books on Amazon or eBay, whatever. Just go find them, okay? And I'm telling you, these 2 books will change your life. I'm in the middle of writing my own book on this stuff. When my book comes out, I'm going to tell you to go buy my book, okay? But right now I don't have my own book. So in the meantime, I'd like you to get these 2 books. One is called Strengths Finder, and there's a second version of it now. They call it Strengths Finder 2.0 instead of second edition, whatever. Sounds kind of cool and techie, whatever. All right. But in the StrengthsFinder 2.0, there is a test that you can take, and I'm going to tell you about it a little bit. It's not really a test. It's more like an assessment, and it will tell you what your top 5 strengths are, and it's really cool. Another book I'd like to recommend is one called Wired That Way, and it's by Marita and Florence Littauer. And in that book, they also have a personality assessment, which will tell you, it'll put you into one of 4 different personality types, and then it will help you to understand what the strengths and weaknesses are of each one. And I'm going to just show you in the next few slides, I'm going to show you what my results were from taking both of these assessments. And from that, hopefully that will give you an idea of how you can use them in your life. So with the StrengthsFinder, it's really cool. It has its own little website and everything. And when you buy the book, it gives you a little code, and you type in the code, go to the website, and it gives you some based on the answers you give to the questions. And both of these take, I'm thinking, like about 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour tops to get through all the questions. So you're spending a couple hours of your life, right? But remember, how much is your time worth, right? How much is your time worth, and how much is your life worth? This is the rest of your life we're talking about here, okay? So if you go in there, check out this tool. It will not only give you just a bunch of, a list of your top 5 strengths, but it will explain to you what those strengths are, and then how you can use them in different situations, and then also how you will interact with other people that have other strengths. And for example, what's the best people to interact with? Let's say if you're starting a business, right? And you want to know who to interact with and who to hire. Well, it'll tell you who will best help you to capitalize and to, I'm not using the right term there, but to work with your strengths, and also to help you to make up for your weaknesses. Okay, so for example, I'm really strong in certain areas in people management and that kind of stuff. My wife she's pretty good at that too, but she's also much stronger in dealing with details and numbers and that kind of stuff. So guess who does the checkbook every month? Guess who does the taxes in our house? Well, not me, that's for sure. That's not my strength. So the idea here is to figure out what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, so that you can work within your strengths, but then you can find other people to help you make up for your weaknesses, right? So my top 5 strengths, according to the StrengthsFinder 2.0 book and the assessment that I did. Remember, the book comes with a little code. You go to the website, you type in your code, and then it lets you take the assessment, and then it sends you an email with your results. Okay? Now, my top 5 strengths are being strategic, futuristic, giving input, being a learner, and being a maximizer. Now let me explain what those mean. Okay, so people who are strategic are specifically talented in creating alternative ways to proceed. In other words, if you tell me I can't do something, I'll figure out a way to get it done anyway, right? Now, this came in really handy when I was a teenager. And we just won't go into that part. But this also comes in handy when I'm in the workplace, because I can see patterns and I can find ways to work around things and to get things done, okay? I'm also futuristic, and people obviously who are have one of their top strengths in this area, inspire others with their visions of the future. Well, duh, here I am sitting here giving a webinar to a bunch of people all around the world, talking about how you can improve your future by learning about your strengths and inborn talents, right? So obviously, I've thought a lot about my own future, and I'm also trying to inspire you of what your vision of your future could be. Now, guess what else I'm strong in? I'm a learner. Well, I have a great desire to learn and continuously improve. Remember, I told you I'm a human behavior junkie, right? I'm a human improvement junkie. I want to learn. I want to keep learning and improving myself. And that whole process, just the whole process of doing that just turns me on. And I love going to conferences, going to seminars, reading books about self-improvement, all that. And I also love teaching other people how to do that. And that's one reason why I've been a university professor for many years as well. And I do business coaching and life coaching for people who want to improve, because I love to learn, and then I love to share what I'm learning, which comes to my next strength, which is input, right? I love I just have this inborn craving to keep knowing more and collecting information and archiving it, and storing it. If you saw my hard drive, I actually have to get extra hard drives to hold all the stuff that I have. I go on vacation, and my daughter complains because I bring 3 boxes of books on vacation, and there's no room for her to sit in the back seat. Okay. All right. So I love to learn and learn and learn, but I also love to give input to others and share it with others. Okay. I am the king of unsolicited advice. I will actually stop in a store and give advice to the owner of the store about the marketing that they're doing, or the sign that's out there, or how they can arrange their merchandise. And yes, I am one of those kind of annoying people. I do stop myself sometimes. Sometimes my wife and my daughter help me to stop myself as well. But now my last one is, and this isn't my last one though, there's I think 38. Don't quote me on that, but I believe there's 38 total strengths that they measure in the StrengthsFinder test. But they tell you what their top 5 are. Your top 5 are. The reason is because they want you focusing on your top 5. They don't want you focusing on number 37, because that's really down on the list. If you want to live a fulfilled life and want to help other people, help yourself, you really want to live what's called in your strengths, right? So this is the other of my top 5 strengths is called maximizer, right? So, I like to stimulate personal and group excellence. I like to transform something strong into something superb. That's why I'm not just repeating here a bunch of platitudes, a bunch of quotations from Tony Robbins and Zig Ziglar and all those other, Norman Vincent Peale, all my other heroes. Of course, I do that sometimes. If you look at my Facebook page, I'll put out quotes by them all the time. But the thing I want to do is to really take what they've done, take what I've learned, and transform that into something strong and superb. That's why I'm right now working on my own book in this area, because I want to stimulate your excellence and group excellence of any group that I belong to, whether it's the university where I teach, or a conference where I am giving a seminar, or a social or a trade group association that I belong to, etc. I want to maximize everyone and everything. All right, now the next one we're going to talk about is your personality types according to the Wired That Way book. Florence Littauer and Marita Littauer, between the two of them, they've written, I don't know, a couple dozen books in this area. Another one that's famous is called Personality Plus, and that was written by Florence Littauer. Marita, if you didn't notice, their last names are the same. Marita is the daughter of Florence Littauer. And so she has kind of carried on the family tradition with this whole thing. But I'm going to show you now what the 4 personality types are and how those can also help you. All right? Because if you can understand what your natural strengths are, then you can get better at them. And every personality type has its own strengths and weaknesses. But if you can focus on your strengths and get better at them, and then also understand what your weaknesses are and improve on them, then you can be a better human being for yourself and also for your family, for your employer, or for your employees if you are a manager or own your own business, and for the world at large, right? Okay, so very, very quickly here, I could spend hours and hours. I actually do 2 to 3 day long seminars based on this stuff, just on this section, okay, just on the personality types. But I'm not going to be on this webinar for 2 to 3 days. I'm going to try to get through this section in about 15 minutes, all right? But the 4 basic personality types, according to this system, now there are many other systems out there. There's the DISC system, there's Myers-Briggs, there's all kinds of others. But this particular system divides you into 4 different types. And the wording here, it may seem kind of weird, but it's based on some ancient Greek words, okay? So the sanguine, choleric, melancholy, phlegmatic, it originated with Greek, and then there was a Roman philosopher and physician who then took some of those, and I won't go into all the history of it. But the idea here is, if you look at the left-hand side, look at the words in parentheses. So you have 4 different types. You have your popular person, your powerful, your perfect, and your peaceful, right? So, and to use the original terminology, it's the popular sanguine, the powerful choleric, the perfect melancholy, and the peaceful phlegmatic. Now, each one of these has basic needs. And what Florence Littauer did in her book, which I just think is genius, is she was able to take each of these personality types and figure out what their basic needs are and narrow that down to just one word. All right. Now, again, there's lots of other systems out there. Once you get into them and start reading about them, you'll find that there's some similarities with all the systems. A lot of them break it down into 4 different personality types. Again, this particular one, it's the popular sanguine, powerful choleric, perfect melancholy, and peaceful phlegmatic. Well, the popular person just needs to have fun. That's what they want to do. Life is a party. Life is fun. And I'm going to go into a little more detail also with each one of these in a minute. But your powerful person, your powerful choleric, needs to be in control, needs to be in charge, needs other people to, well, manage or boss around. Okay. All right. And your perfect melancholy type needs perfection. And your peaceful phlegmatic just needs to be at peace, which is cool because they kind of get along with everybody, right? But again, there's strengths and weaknesses of each one of these, and I'm going to talk about them. Now, your popular sanguine strengths are, this is your enthusiastic, energetic, cheerful person, very outgoing, again, loves to have fun, has lots of great ideas, big ideas and all that. But some of the weaknesses is they always want attention. They can monopolize conversations. They're easily distracted and can often be very dramatic superficial. And they might meet you and you know, you feel like you made a great connection and you're best friends with them, but they're very, very bad at following up with people. And it's not, don't take it personally, but they meet so many people because they love people. And as long as somebody's listening to their stories, right? So if you meet them and then 3 months later you meet them again, well, in between that time, they might have met a couple dozen or a couple 100 other people. So they'll remember you and they'll be your best friend again for a while, but then they'll kind of forget about you. But it's not on purpose. It's just because that's the way they are, all right? So again, very strengths, enthusiastic, energetic, cheerful, outgoing. Weaknesses, obviously wanting to get attention, being kind of dramatic and easily distracted, not good at following up. Now, your powerful person, your powerful choleric, this is your natural-born leader, very hard worker, a lot of internal drive, very productive and goal-oriented, and this is the person who gets things done and is able to get other people together to organize them and get things done. But because of that, sometimes they can be a little controlling and bossy and seem like they know it all, and can sometimes even offend people without realizing it because they just want to get the job done, right? So imagine a chef in a kitchen, right in the middle of rush hour, dinner hour. They're sitting there barking orders and yelling at people. Think of your drill sergeant who's trying to get people through boot camp. Okay, they're not there to make friends with all the trainees and all that. They just are there to get the job done, to get them through the training, and they need to get there, right? So this is your powerful choleric person. All right, your perfect melancholy is your perfectionist. That's why they call them perfect melancholy, right? This is the person who always follows the rules, who is always on time, not just on time, but is 15 minutes early, right? Who always wants to create a schedule. And if anything gets in the way of that schedule, they get upset, right? A lot of times, because of that, these people are very trustworthy and organized and all that. And a lot of times that people with this personality type can be very artistic and can be compassionate and sensitive because they are sensitive, right? Because they want to be perfectionists, and they feel like if you criticize them at all, they're going to think about it for the next 3 days to a week for one little comment. If you make 99 good comments and then one constructive criticism comment, they're going to dwell on the constructive criticism for a week and maybe forever. All right. Okay. Now your weaknesses, though, is because they want to be perfect, because they think that perfectionism is next to godliness, right? Okay. If you think of that saying, cleanliness is next to godliness, right? This person thinks perfectionism is next to godliness, and they try to be perfect, but they can't be all the time. But they try to be, and they want to be. So a lot of times they'll be overly critical of other people, or might be overly sensitive if you point out an error that they made. Because if they made an error, that means they're not perfect, and that means they're not close to God, right? Does that make sense? Okay. So that turns them into being a little fearful and uptight and moody, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, and I'm going through these very, very quickly here, and there's much more. There's books and books you can read. Again, I do seminars, day-long, 2-3 day-long seminars on just this part of it, but I'm trying to just give you a little piece of it here so that you can get a quick overview. All right, now your peaceful phlegmatic, the good strengths of this personality type is that they are your calm and patient person. They're very kind, tend to be very faithful, and they can be consistent and dependable. Now, they're not going to go out and start their own business, right? They're not going to go out and they're not the go-getters. But if you tell them to do something, if they're an employee and you give them a job, they'll do it. Don't make it too hard, okay? They'll do it, and they're dependable. They'll get it done, but they're not going to go above and beyond, okay? All right. Now, the weaknesses, though, is that these people can be a little indecisive and can be kind of on the dull, boring side, all right, especially if somebody's the total opposite, like if somebody's the powerful, choleric person who's the go-getter, go, 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 run, 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 do, do, do. This person just wants to kind of hang out, right? I call this kind of your surfer dude or your couch potato kind of personality, right? They just want to exist, right? They don't have a lot of internal drive to go succeed and everything, and they just want to be, okay? And but they do have opinions, though. So everybody has an opinion, right? So if you're sitting around with a bunch of friends and coworkers and they're trying to figure out, well, where do you want to go eat? Well, should we have Chinese or pizza or something else, right? Steakhouse. And they might have in their mind what they want to eat, but they'll go along with the crowd just to make peace, because for them, peace above all. They don't want arguments. They don't want to be antagonistic. They don't want to go along with the crowd. But later on, they're sitting there pouting, and you ask them, well, what's wrong? Well, you guys all went to Chinese food, and I really wanted pizza. Well, why didn't you say something, right? Well, because they didn't say anything because they wanted peace. They wanted to go along with the crowd, but they might end up exhibiting some passive-aggressive behavior later. All right. Now, my personality type, just in case you were wondering, is, and then this is approximate, okay? Again, I'm not a psychologist, and I've done a lot of these different assessments and everything on myself and had other people do them on me and talked about them. But pretty much what I've figured out after several years of this stuff is that I'm about the 70% powerful choleric person and about 30% or so the popular sanguine. Okay. Now, how do I know that I'm not the other way around? Well, because, yeah, I love people. I'm outgoing. I love to go to parties and enjoy people. And I'm generally an energetic, optimistic kind of person and all that kind of stuff, which is good. And I do have some of the weaknesses of the popular sanguine, which is I am easily distracted and I'm not good at following up. For example, I'll get a pocket full of business cards after a conference, and they'll move from one place to another in my house. And I'm not really good at following up with people unless they follow up with me, which is really good, and then I will follow back. But I'm just not really good at that kind of stuff, right? But how do I know that I'm more the choleric than the sanguine? Well, if I have a choice of either staying home and doing some work and getting a project done and then or going to a party and just having fun, well, guess what? I'm going to get the work done because I have that natural drive. Okay, that's why I have so many college degrees. That's why I have so many certifications, all that. And I don't say that to brag or anything like that. You can get them too if you want them. Okay, you just go and you take the classes, you do the stuff they say, and they'll give them to you, right? But I am driven that way, and I'm just naturally driven that way. And I remember when I was a kid, late teens, and I remember my dad telling me, and this is during the time when I was a high school dropout, right? And I was working in the shoe factory. Actually, it was before I was working in the shoe factory. There was an airplane parts factory down the street. And my dad said, hey, I hear the airplane parts factory is hiring. You could go get a job there. And I said, oh, I don't want any crappy job like that for the rest of my life, right? Because I had a really good job. I was selling vacuum cleaners at that point, which was a really good job for a high school dropout. And I was actually making pretty decent money doing it. But, crapola, again, there's my word, crapola. I was a vacuum cleaner salesman, but I didn't realize it because I was in my late teens. All I knew was that I was making pretty good money, and I got to wear a tie to work every day, and I didn't have to go work in some factory like a lot of my neighbors did and my dad did, right? Who knew that the following year I would wreck my car, I wouldn't have a car, and I wouldn't have any way to go around selling vacuum cleaners door to door, and I'd end up working in the shoe factory anyway, right? But a little while of that, and I said, yeah, the heck with this. I don't want to end up like those guys. And I said, I'm going to set some goals for myself. I have internal drive, and I was going to do that. So I am definitely, this is my personality type. Now, what is your personality type? I don't know, but you can find out. You can find out your top 5 strengths by getting the StrengthsFinder 2.0 book. You can find out your personality type by taking this, either getting the Wired That Way or Personality Plus book, or you can go, there's the DISC assessment. There's several other ones that you can get. But I would highly recommend that you get one of those assessments, maybe get a couple of them, and then compare them and just see the results. And then you'll kind of figure out what your types are. Now, once you know that, then you want to think, what are some different things that I can do then? Well, some of the natural roles of these different personality types are, if you're a popular sanguine type, then you're probably more of the creative type person, and you love people, and you probably want a job that's like being a salesperson or doing public speaking or something where you're in public relations or organizing events and coming up with new ideas and projects and that kind of stuff. If you're a powerful choleric person, again, that's your natural leadership position. Maybe you want to go into politics or no, well, never mind. Okay, don't get me started on politics. But somebody has to do it, right? And it's the powerful choleric people. They're good at management. You might want to go start your own business. You might want to work your way up and become a supervisor or a manager in your company. You're good at putting ideas into action, getting all the other people, the popular, sanguine, creative people, getting the perfect, perfectionist, detail-oriented people, getting the support, peaceful, phlegmatic people. You're good at organizing all of those people to get the job done, right? So that's your natural role for the powerful choleric. If you're a perfect melancholy person, then you are a detail-oriented person. You follow the rules, remember. You like structure. You like to be on time. You like details. So you might think about things like, computer programming or engineering and those kind of things. Be a brain surgeon, okay? Those type of things. If you own your own business, let's say if you're in internet marketing, I know several people on this list that are that are on this webinar right now are interested in internet marketing, for example. And if you are interested in that, maybe if you're the perfect melancholy type, then you sit there and do all the details and detail work, and you look at all the statistics of how many people are visiting your site and who they are and your target markets and all those number crunching kind of things. You're probably really good at that stuff, right? But then you might want to get one of your popular sanguine persons to go out and do all your social media posting and interacting with people online and all that. All right. Now, your peaceful phlegmatic person is your natural support person. This is your person that is going to be a good follower. Remember, they're a follower, not a leader. But they're also good at other things that, don't think because I said couch potato or surfer dude, kind of peaceful, laid back, let's all get along. That's not always, for a powerful choleric, that's like death, right? But for the world, we need all four of these types, right? So we need people who are on that peaceful side, that peaceful phlegmatic side, who are going to be good at seeing all sides of an issue and saying, okay, we have a conflict here. Now let's hear your side. Let's hear your side. Let's say it's in family counseling or in law or in diplomatic corps doing peace treaties between countries. Let's hear your point of view. Now let's hear the other person's point of view. Okay, now what I hear are the similarities. Let's all get together. Let's all have a big group hug and then go out for dinner and celebrate, right? Okay. With the popular sanguine, of course, telling all the stories at dinner, the powerful choleric taking charge, telling us where to go to eat, having the perfect melancholy, make sure we all get there on time and making the reservation, making sure the menu is perfect, and then the peaceful phlegmatic just making sure everybody gets along while we're there, right? Okay. Now what? All right. Once you know what you love to do, once you know your top 5 strengths, once you know your personality types, strengths and weaknesses of all those types, then you want to start to align your goals with your gifts and talents. Okay? Now your gifts and talents might be some inborn and some that are developed along the way. Okay? So your personality type is going to identify what your inborn gifts and talents are. But you can also develop others. So you could be a perfect melancholy, for example. You could be a perfectionist that isn't really necessarily an outgoing personality type that loves people, that just loves to tell stories and be the life of the party and all that. But you could still be an excellent salesperson, right? Because you would pay attention to detail. You arrive to your appointments on time. You tell people all the details, your customers, all the details of the product or service that you are selling. all that kind of stuff, right? So all of these different things work together, and you can take your strengths and work on those, build on those, but you can work on your weaknesses, and then you can make them all work together to accomplish whatever goal it is that you want to do. But as I mentioned before, all this stuff is not quite as simple as pie, right? And I learned how to pronounce pie when I went to college, finally, in my 20s. Okay, I did finally go to college, as you know, and that was in southern Mississippi, in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, a place called William Carey College. It's now called William Carey University, and I learned how to say it like that. I don't always talk like that. I'm from New England. I now live in Texas and New Mexico, and so I don't know what you figured out, but a lot of people ask me if I'm from Canada or other places, but I guess a lot of my early uh, life, I picked up my accent up in Maine probably, and that hasn't ever quite gone away. All right, now your personal mission statement. I told you that I promised you that I was going to teach you how to make a personal mission statement. Well, I sort of cheated in that. I'm not actually going to teach you how to do it, but I'm going to give you the website where you can go do it for free. Okay, and then I'm going to tell you about mine just a little bit and how I developed mine and how it turned out. So if you just go here to franklincovey.com, franklincovey, all one word, .com/MSB, Mary Sally Boy, okay, MSB, then, and that stands for Mission Statement Builder, okay, you can do a free little assessment that will help you to build your own mission statement. Now, you've probably heard of mission statements in companies and in educational institutions, nonprofit organizations, etc. They all have mission statements. But did you know that you can make a personal mission statement? And if you have a personal mission statement, that will help you to get toward where you, again, know where you're going, and then you can set the goals that align with your personality type, with your strengths and weaknesses, etc. So let me just give you an example of my personal mission statement. This is something I made several years ago, and it is to use my God-given talents and abilities in teaching, writing, and music to educate, to encourage, and to entertain. Now, all of my three here, you don't have to have three. You could have four, you could have five, whatever. Some people only have one, right? But those bullet points all start with an E, and I, as a person who's trained in language and has degrees in English and is a writer and all that, I'd love to use alliteration and all that. So, but you don't have to do that. I just want to tell you, your words don't have to match at all, whatever. But your mission statement should say something about you and what is it that you want to achieve in life, right? Well, for me, it's to educate, encourage, and entertain, right? Now, I wrote this before I actually took the Franklin Covey Mission Statement Builder little assessment tool. Well, here's what's interesting is, according to this, and what happens is when you fill out the mission statement builder, it asks you a series of questions. So it's not some kind of there's not a psychic person sitting on the other side of the computer, and it just automatically, it's not like calling the 1-900 psychic line, okay? And if you're interested in spending money on that, just send me your money instead, and I'll tell you whatever you want to know. Okay, but the point is it's the mission statement builder works on the answers to the questions that you provide. So they ask you questions, you provide the answers, and then it spits out some statements. Okay, so that's how it works. It's a computer program, basically. Garbage in, garbage out, or good things in, good things out. Right now, what the results say here is that I am at my best when I'm teaching. I should try to prevent times when I'm not in control. I will enjoy my work if I find employment where I can teach. I will find enjoyment in my personal life by playing guitar and singing. I'll find opportunities to use my natural gifts such as music, writing, speaking, and teaching. I can do anything that I set my mind to. Wow. I will write books, sing, and speak in public. And my life's journey is helping people to learn to live better lives. All right. Now, all of these answers, remember, were based on answers that I put in to questions that they asked of me, right? Now, another thing that they asked me about, and this is based on Stephen Covey, if you didn't get that, Franklin Covey, okay, is based on Stephen Covey, who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And one of the stories that he tells in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, or exercises that he has, is he asks you to think about what would people be saying about you at your funeral? Okay, so and I think he asks like a personal friend, a family member, and a coworker or something. Don't quote me on that, but 3 different people at your funeral. Imagine you're at your funeral and people are standing up and talking about you. So when you are 6 feet under, what are people going to say about you? So they ask you this question in the mission statement builder thing. And then, so my answers came out to be, I will be a person who is valued by my family and friends. And he loved people and helped people live better lives. And his most important contribution to others would be that he loved them and helped them to improve. All right. Now, interesting. Look at my mission statement again. Now, again, I wrote this before I took the mission statement builder program. But here it is. It's to use my God-given talents and abilities in teaching, writing, and music to educate, encourage, and entertain. Wow. Doesn't that fit all these different things that I answered, right? So what that tells me is that my mission statement is dead on, right? And now when you take yours, you may find that yours is not quite in alignment with what you're doing. But I wanted to show this to you to show you the accuracy of this mission statement builder program. Now, I am not hired by, I have no affiliation with the Franklin Covey mission statement builder website. I just happen to know about it, and I just wanted to tell you about it, okay? But I think it's highly accurate, and I'd highly recommend that you check it out, because if you put all these 3 things together, your StrengthsFinder results, your personality plus results, from the Wired That Way book or the Personality Plus book, whichever one, they have the test in the back of the book. It's not a computerized test, it's just in the back of the book. And then put those together with your Franklin Covey mission statement builder, you will have a pretty good idea of your strengths, your weaknesses, what your missions are, and all that. Now, I want to talk about PMS for just a minute. Okay. Now, for you ladies out there, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about post-mission statement. All right. So after you get your mission statement written, all right, then determine your priorities. Now, one thing I just want to note, that everybody's priorities are going to be a little bit different. Yours are not going to be like mine, nor should they be, right? I only give you mine so that you can have an example of what they might be like, right? Your strengths, your top 5 strengths, are going to be different than mine. Your personality type will probably be very different than mine. A lot of people have similar ones, but you're going to have a different percentage. Yours might be 90% one and 10% another, or 100% one of the 4, right? And then your mission statement, of course, is going to be different. So based on that, though, I want you to ask yourself these questions. And again, you might not do this right now, but Write these down so that you can do them later. Does everything I do fit with the mission statement? Now, if it does, then great, okay? But if not, I have two different choices. I can either change my activities, the things that I'm doing, so that they will meet and fit my mission statement, or I can change my mission statement to fit the things that I'm doing, right? Now that's up to you, okay? I can't tell you what to do or how to live your life. You can call me. I can give you personal coaching, and I'd love to do that for you. And you can have the opportunity to do that. But in the meantime, I can't tell you what to do. But what I can do is help to guide you, right? But in the meantime, just based on this webinar, ask yourself this question. Does everything I do fit the mission statement? Or if not, I need to either change my activities so they fit the mission statement, or I need to develop a new mission statement. And so that's up to you how you do that. Now, I have a suggestion. One thing that you can do is to review your mission statement at least once a year. I often do mine a couple of times a year. And for example, the music part of my my mission statement has changed quite a bit in the last couple of years. I still perform music a little bit. I still do school assembly programs for kids, but a lot of times I don't bring my guitar anymore. Sometimes I will just speak and not perform music along with my my speeches. And the music part, even though I love music still and it will always be part of my life, it has become a little bit less of what I do. And I might want to consider revising that part of it. But for you, it's a good idea to take it out and look at it. You know, maybe once a quarter, every 6 months, at least once a year though. And then that way you can be able to figure out if you are on track or if you need to tweak it or whatever. All right. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to manage your time by creating a step-by-step plan. And that is what we are going to cover next time. So, in the meantime, I would like to just let you know that you can contact me at any time. And I will go back to my original slide here, which has my website on it, and that is thecommunicationleader.com. And my address is, email address is just Lawrence, Lawrence, at thecommunicationleader.com. And you can contact me at any time if you like this kind of stuff, if you would like to learn more, if you would like to talk to me about how you can sign up for a personal coaching plan. I would love to talk with you about that so I can help guide you through these processes. It's something that I've been doing for a long time. I am very excited about it, as you can tell. I love doing this stuff, and I would love to share more about what I can do with that. And otherwise, we will see you on the next Speaker and Author Success webinar. Remember, we are here every what is today? Monday. Yes. Okay. So right now we do them on Monday nights. If you're listening to this on a recording, we may change the time occasionally. Sometimes we do them different days of the week, but for the last couple of months we've been doing them on Monday evenings. That seems to be a good time for a lot of people. And I just want to take this time to say thank you so much for honoring me with your time and commitment for being here today. And I would like to in turn honor you for you being here, because for you to take an hour out of your life to sit and listen to me is an honor to me. Okay, so we're honoring each other here, and I just want to encourage you to seriously Do whatever it is that you can. I've given you a couple of tools and resources, the StrengthsFinder 2.0 book, the Wired That Way or Personality Plus book, and also the Franklin Covey Mission Statement Builder website. Those are some tools that you can use to help yourself to learn to figure out what your strengths and weaknesses are, what your personality type is, and then to move forward and use that information to set goals and achieve the goals that match your personality type and your inborn strengths and weaknesses. So thank you so much for being here today, and God bless, and have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye now.